What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another week of the Writers' Room presented by Breaking and Entering. I'm Alan Hallis, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, our River West cohort, host of the Mr. Nice Guy podcast, and music director for Breaking and Entering, and just all-around nice guy, Ben Slowey. Ben, how you doing today, man?
Yo, I'm doing pretty well, Alan. It's been a very nice day, past couple days that have definitely brightened our spirits.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just got back from a little walk in the park, and now I'm feeling good. It's a very heavy week for us, though, with loads of content coming out of Bandcamp Friday, though.
Yeah, absolutely. There is so much new music to get into. There has been just an overwhelming amount of things happening, which feels good because it has been a long time without a lot of things happening in Milwaukee music or just, outside life in general.
Oh, yeah. Like, I've really had to intentionally plan when I'm doing what this week, because I'm also obviously very busy with episodes. Still trying to make time to check in with my friends and whatnot. It's a hectic time, but it's an exciting time. Yeah. I also got my unemployment finally after waiting 2 months.
Hey, so there pumped. We go.
Yes,
so
I am
catch Ben in his apartment making it rain because there's nowhere else to really go to do that sort of thing.
Right. Electronically making it rain, though, because it shit's all in my bank account.
Yes. Direct deposit making it rain. I don't know how you do it, but there's a way to do it. There should be a button. You know what? Yeah. We're here to innovate. There should be a button in your online banking app that you can just press it just to feel better, and you can just watch it digitally make it rain. I think we might be onto something.
Every time you cash out in PayPal or Venmo or Cash App or something, it just adds a couple dollar bill emojis through your
screen. I like that.
Yeah, that would make me feel good. Make me feel wow, I'm it's paying off.
I think we might be onto something here. We should probably stop talking about it so that we can go patent it legally, yes. and we'll get into our first video. So that we can further discuss this idea offline and just think of how we're going to make billions with the new cash emoji when you cash out app. We're going to have to come up with a better name for that. Our first video for this week is from Taiamu Denku and John Doe. For those that don't know, if you don't know by now, you must be under a rock for real. Taiamu Denku is one of the best freestylers in the city. He can do an entire album off the top of his head, I'm pretty sure. One of the most exciting dudes to see live if you are a true hip-hop head. And actually, I got this shirt at a Taiamu Denku show. So,
dope.
Yeah. Also, real quick, speaking of dope shirts, Ben, I don't know why I pointed at the camera. Ben, other way, is rocking the B&E gear. We got the Breaking and Entering pillow. I can bust out the coffee mug if we gotta. He's rocking some B&E merch. But we can talk about that much later. In the meantime, let's get into Taiamu Denku featuring John Doe. This is No Obstacles on the Writers' Room.
No obstacles. Say what? Pass. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a paper boy, no obstacle course. I make paper, boy, like a newspaper source. The road's not rich, poverty won't cross intersections. Sense an obstacle won't taste my direction. Natural selection, fresh squeeze from lemon pucker. The silver spoon won't Mary Poppins your supper. Now I'm singing in the rain, swimming in the puddle, trying to drown myself in an oxygen bubble. The move is muscle, pectoral benchmark. Too much weight, will collapse my heart. I ache but made, I'm not afraid of your cheers. I wish Ted Danson was here. My career didn't take off, it took its face off. I'm fiction, Paul Travolta needing weight loss. Dip my pen in A1 steak sauce. Write my flavor down on your Ramsay boss. Words at loss, found my alphabet soup. I've circled reconnaissance around the drum loop. We made it out. We made it out of here. No obstacle to misdirect our steer. Let's be clear. We beat our fears. No obstacle to corrupt our career.
Deserted roads, forgotten paths. Years of tears and lots of laughs. Remembered pairs who crossed our paths. Family members who've all lost their lives. Most found ghost towns and cesspools you're drowning. Frowning while their problems avalanching like mountains. Down for the count, rock bottomed out and pouting. But they kid, big dudes in your corner. And I'm shouting out for you to walk it off. Lose the doubting, fake thoughts and make sure that your route's rerouted. Clouded vision now clearer. Looking in the mirror. Death keeps on calling, I pretend I don't hear him. Miserable times, dismal at times. Eternal grind, mentally rewind to that original mind. But those days stayed engraved in my dome. Lone wolf at home in front of the microphone.
We made it out. We made it out of here. No obstacle to misdirect our steer. Let's be clear. We beat our fears. No obstacle to corrupt our career. We made it out. We made it out of here. No obstacle to misdirect our steer. Let's be clear. We beat our fears. No obstacle to corrupt our career.
All right, that was Tayamo Denku featuring John Doe. That song is called No Obstacles. Those two have collaborated for a full project, and I've seen them. Actually, we've had them live before at a Big Beat MKE event as well. So cool to see them working together on things. If you're fans of real lyrical backpacker hip hop, make sure you check out Denku for sure. But there's a lot of other huge drops for Milwaukee music this week. A lot of names that we haven't seen in a while, but it's cool to see. We got a project from Dana Kappa on Friday. We got music. We got a new video from Rich P on Friday. I'm blanking, but there's a bunch of.
I actually do have some on deck up here. Because it has been such a rigid planning schedule lately. We got another Gorilla Ghost EP.
Yeah,
themed around Wesley Snipes. We also got this week we got a new record from Shroud of Despondency, which has in the past done like black metal kind of stuff, but this is more of like a dark neo-folk sort of direction, and it was really haunting, and it's very, very sad. A lot of the songs about death. Like, oh shit. Well,
okay, well, that was the year to do it. We passed the year to make that record, so that's all right. I get that.
Yeah, that shit hurted. We also got a new record from A Crushed Rose, which is one of Elisa Rodriguez, aka Apollo Vermouth's side projects, and that thing is beautiful. It was a massively layered body of work that just was it had like a 40-minute long track on it. It's pretty insane. Like, I had to kind of skim through it, to be honest, just so I got to everything in time. But,
that one's a marathon, not a sprint, for sure.
Yes, but always great hearing anything that Elisa does. So anyone who's watching who wants some very like daydream soundscapes or just surrealist mindfuck music. Go listen to the new Across Rose. We got a new song from Nicholas Ellert, and it introduced a new series he's working on where he's going to be dropping one song a month for 8 months, which he is another sonic wizard in the experimental scene. Great to hear from him. We got a new EP from Playtime.
Yes.
Very emotional, very love struck EP about balancing the grind with balancing your feelings for a significant other and how complicated that gets. Playtime is definitely definitely like one of the premier 2021 artists so far. Like he's been mad consistent with like EPs and singles and videos. Like he's been really massively outputting so far this year.
And for those that don't know, he was formerly known as A Will the Great, and then just A Will for a little bit. He's reinvented himself and kind of gone in a new direction as Playtime. The new label is Playhouse Records, so he's really kind of taken 2020 to put his ducks in a row and say, this is what I'm doing beyond just creating a body of work. It's a whole entity now. That's going to be his thing. And he was already creating, photos and videos and things like that, along with the music. So interesting to see him take the next step and turn it into a full blown, business company, So let's see what Playhouse Records has in 2021. There could be a lot more on the table that we don't know about yet.
So yeah. We also got a jazz record from Case.
Yeah.
Which was actually that record. It's a live album, and it was their first time playing music all together as a trio. And it was recorded at the Highbury, Bayview's favorite soccer club, aka Watering Hole.
My favorite soccer bar for sure. I cannot wait until we can get back to the Highbury. I will be cheering on Manchester United furiously. Yeah, but yes, I digress. Yes, new Case record from the Highbury is cool. I don't know if we talked about last week the Tommy Conquest record, his most recent EP. That blew me away. I was not expecting that from him, and I really had not. He wasn't really super on my radar at that point. The Tommy Conquest record, if you have not heard it, please do go to breakingandentering.net and check it out, because that thing it's kind of a banger.
Yeah. I still have to listen to it. Well, I sent it to you to cover because I've covered Conquest a couple times. He had a couple singles in the last year, but I wanted, like, just in case like you hadn't heard him, I wanted like you to experience Tommy Conquest.
Yeah.
He
is for sure on my radar now. When he starts dropping things, I was pleasantly surprised by him. I had heard the name, and I had actually probably seen, stuff that you had posted from him before. But the first time to really sit down with his project, was really pleasantly surprised by that. The other one that I was actually really surprised by too was the most recent record from Petty Hendrix. Which that single came out. I want to say we put that on the website Friday. And he went in a completely different direction from where I thought he was going to. It had more of a he was leaning into the like emo rap thing, but it actually has like guitars and takes on like a pop punky like emo sound. So one of the weirder things to happen out of 2021 so far, but I like it, is this like merger of hip hop and emo kind of coming together. So.
Yeah, we've seen that with Kenny Hoopla. We've seen that with Dubsack a little bit, just not necessarily from like the pop punk aspect, but more from just emo and just very, very dark and tortured.
I tend to lean in and say that that's all pop punk to me, but it's all emo. It's all, kind of those two worlds. It's like peanut butter and chocolate. Then you know that because they shouldn't go together, and then they do, and it's great. I don't know.
Petty Hendrix will actually be on the next edition of Midcoast, which is the new series that the Cooperage is doing, raising donations for social justice. But I'm excited to see you know, how he kind of like translate this music he's working on that of such a unique style. Interested to see how he brings it to life at that show. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking of this, and this is a very bold take, but this is me showing my age just a little bit, I think here. Um, with the whole emo rap thing, and I know a lot of people don't get it, and I was like, this is what punk rock was in the '80s, and that's my hot take for this week, I guess, if there is one.
yeah,
But I have the feeling that like, obviously, it's not for somebody my age. I'm 30. I'm still too old for this. Like this lives in, 15, 16-year-old kids. This is the energy. And it's the product of it lives online, so it's kind of underground in the sense of it's not being covered by traditional radio. It's a product of the internet, and all of the influences coming together. It's a response to music that, isn't the mainstream. So like this is kind of what punk it has all the ethos of punk rock, but it just doesn't look the same because it's kids tattooing their faces and you know taking drugs
I
and
get it. I get it.
the
It's
the similarities are kind of there, and like
right.
people don't want to say
Oh
it,
yeah,
but people our age
yeah.
don't want to say it.
Oh, there's
So
definitely overlap, especially with how it's very like anti-establishment a lot of
yeah,
time, and it's rebellious. You know, it's coming from a place of like getting the people together to like stand up against oppression and against like a harmful system. So no, I don't think you're far off at all with that take.
yeah. So I mean, and when I thought of it, like as a fan of punk rock, I was like, I really don't want that out in the world to say that, but it's right. It's what it is. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is, what the future of music is going to kind of spur in that direction. So anyway, all that to say that the Petty Hendrix record is really good,
Yeah, yeah.
and Kenny Hoopla and everybody else that is like merging all these different fields together. And there's a bunch of great new music on Breaking and Entering that you can see this week that, we are only covering a microcosm of it here in this show. Um,
Actually, I do want to give one more shout out to another drop that we covered today, and
okay.
that was Loie Norquist's new record.
Yeah, North by
And
Norquist.
yeah, and dude, that was her first record in 30 years.
Okay.
She, yeah, like it's only the second record she's ever done, also, and like it's such an interesting record because um it like felt like it was a summation of like a lot of different eras of influence as well as just a lifetime of experiences
Yeah.
because she touches on so much stuff about like you know being optimistic and being confident and just like going in and out of like all kinds of different emotions. It's just like a very eclectic record that blends folk and pop and rock. And it's like some stuff sounds like, it's sort of like like 60s, 70s rock
Yeah.
aesthetic. And then some songs are more like, bring more like 80s, like
It's all these decades that she lived
adult
through.
contemporary pop. Like it's a beautiful record, and I think folks should definitely check that one out too.
Yeah, and I'm of the belief that you need to experience life and live through it before you put it into a song. And that's how the most honest stuff comes out. So that's probably what we have going on with that record. So we're also going to get into a video right now from somebody else that is making a lot of waves and actually has a lot of interest here in Milwaukee. She's the person behind Grace Weber's Music Lab. It's Grace Weber. But this new song is super great, and I really like what she's doing here. And the video is super cool too. I can't talk, so we're gonna just get into it. It's Grace Weber. This is Feels Like Heaven on the Writers Room.
Good morning, everybody. It's a brand new day, and I can already tell it's going to be a good one. No matter what you're going through or what you've been through, remember to stop and celebrate the good times when they happen. We've got a new song that should help you do just that. This one's called Feels Like Heaven.
I've been through some changes. I got nothing left to hold me back. I've been through some fake shit. Crazy how it feels when I look back. Who was that? I let her go, and now I know when I'm seeing red. I'ma listen to my head, bending till it almost broke me. Then I came back from it almost holy. Now it feels like heaven, 'cause I'm on the other side, and it feels like forever since I've been this kind of high. I'm alive, letting all my problems fade away. I've been through the dark, but I'm okay. I can see the light, 'cause I'm on the other side. Now I'm seeing clearly, picking up the pieces with my two hands. I'm not even running, no, but you can try to catch me if you can. Ready, set, I let her go, and now I know when I see red. I'ma listen to my head, been until it almost broke me. Then I came back from it almost holy. Now it feels like heaven, 'cause I'm on the other side, and it feels like forever since I've been this kind of high. I'm alive, letting all my problems fade away. I've been through the dark, but I'm okay. I can see the light, 'cause I'm on the other side. If I could get my mind right, tell the doubts to fade away. If I can make it through the night, I know the sun will rise. And it feels like 'cause I'm on the other side, and it feels like forever since I've been this kind of high. I'm alive, letting all my problems fade away. I've been through the dark, but I'm okay. I can see the light, 'cause I'm on the other side.
That was Grace Weber with Feels Like Heaven. Great song, really cool video. She is currently out of Milwaukee. She is, I believe, wasn't she living in New York or LA?
I think she's gone between the two. I think she's in LA now, but
Okay.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I love that song. That is a mesmerizing song, and the video is just so euphoric.
well done. It's super well done. She was on Mr. Nice Guy, wasn't she?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Working on it though. Working
Okay.
on it.
There we go. We're gonna speak it into fruition. Yeah, we'll make it happen. But we got some new episodes of Mr. Nice Guy that have been up on the site this week as well. And within the last week, I mean, I saw James Deese, and then I watched a couple other interviews that you've had. A lot of people, coming through Mr. Nice Guy land as well.
Yeah, we had the failed hipster Brett Newski on
Yeah.
the show. He's a very interesting guy. He's really funny. He's hilarious. And you could talk to him for hours. Like he will make even the most mundane things interesting. For sure.
And he's got plenty of experience too. He's traveled the world, and I think he's got his own podcast now too, where he's talking about his nomadic lifestyle.
Yeah, he's interviewing some pretty big artists. He's talking to We Are Scientists this week.
Oh,
He's had Better Than Ezra on recently as well. Yeah, no, Brett's killing it for sure.
so do make sure you check out you can check out Brett's podcast, but also check out Mr. Nice Guy, and check out the Breaking and Entering podcast as well. This week we've got John Sparrow from the Violent Femmes is going to be on this Friday's episode. So make sure you tune into that. But in the meantime, we are going to give you some homework, as we do every week here on the Writers Room. We pick albums at random, vinyl at random. I have this nice stack of records behind me. Ben runs through his apartment blindfolded. He crashes into everything, but still comes out with a record for you. It's pretty great. So,
Yeah.
and then it is your job to go and listen to those records on vinyl, streaming, however you want to acquire it. I know Marty from Gorilla Ghost has taken a lot of cassette tapes from thrift stores. Do it however you gotta, but find these records and make sure you go listen to them. So Ben, do you want to go first this week, or should I?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll go first also because like it wasn't necessarily random because I called on you last week to pick one from the edge of your collection, and I did the same thing, and so I kind of already knew like what I was.
You had an idea of where. Do you alphabetize your records, or are they just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so then you kind of know. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And they're in two big crates, so
okay.
Like I knew what I was picking, but I had to hold myself to the same standard as you.
I understand that.
This is Local Natives, and this is Gorilla Manor.
Okay.
So Local Natives, for those that don't know, are an indie folk band that this record I believe is from like 2009, 2010. But yeah, it's gentle, peaceful, relaxing, beachy indie folk. That just, it just feels like you kind of just like want to get up on a horse and ride it like into the sunset.
Okay.
When you listen to Local Natives.
It's a very springtime record, would you say? Maybe an unsurprisingly or an unseasonably warm kind of record?
I would certainly say it is akin to just that. So yeah, this is actually an appropriate record for this time of year. There's this record sleeve that I can't really stick back in there, but it's got some interesting.
But it's there. So if you can find the vinyl version of it, good luck with the sleeve, I guess. I don't know. So Local Natives. All right.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool sleeve. I like what they're doing. But point is, yes, this record as well as also the record Hummingbird is really good too. But yeah, I actually, fun fact, saw them at Lollapalooza in 2016, and I remember I was wearing just like a ridiculous outfit that day.
As one would do at Lollapalooza, yeah.
Yeah, I was wearing a squid hat with like a blue beach shirt and and like some like blue and red shorts. And I got put on the big screen at the Local Native show with my ridiculous outfit. So that's a memory I associate with them for sure.
Mr. Nice Guy, aka Squid Guy from Lollapalooza. That's probably where the success of Mr. Nice Guy started. As people were like, "That's the guy from the screen at Lollapalooza with the squid hat."
Yeah, they knew it before I even started. So.
There you go. All right, so we are gonna pick one. I will pick one from a different edge, but I will pick one from the edge. I'm going low. I'm going to the to my right here, and so this should be middle of the alphabet-ish or towards the end of it. Okay. Speaking of the edge, we've got U2's Boy as our pick. Yeah, see what I did there because the edge is in the band. He is not listed. Oh no, he is listed as the edge on this one. It starts with actually one of my favorite U2 songs, "I Will Follow." That is the first song on the record.
Dude, I'm a huge U2 fan. I don't know if you knew that, but look,
I did not know that.
Actually.
Oh man, this is new. This is new for the Writers Room. We have never moved the camera. I don't think we've never deviated like this.
I've never done that, but yes, I have a massive U2.
So look at all that. Look at all that U2. There's there. I Will Follow is the first record on here. It's 1980, so I want to say This is, I don't know for sure if this is their debut. I
It
could look
is.
that sort of
It
thing.
is.
Okay. I was like, I could look that sort of thing up, but yes, the first U2 record. Since you got a fun fact, I got a fun fact. On their first tour of the United States, U2 played the New State, which is which was at the time the Palms nightclub. They played obviously all of Boy front to back, and they actually played I Will Follow twice because they needed another song to fill out the set list. So they played it, I believe, at the beginning of the set and at the end of the set. So that's how young they were.
Yeah, they were only like 19 or something when that record came out. Like it was, they were still a boy band, like for no pun
like
intended.
literal boys. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's your homework for this week. Go listen to Local Natives and then go listen to U2's debut record. I am actually really glad that I have this in my collection. You know, rediscovering stuff all the time here on the Writers.
It's a good one. Yeah.
We are gonna get into our last video for this week. It is by Old Wolves, and I'll be honest, Ben, this is your territory. I do not know as much about them, but they're a newer act. Yeah,
It's
sure.
it's just one guy, I think, actually.
Newer guy.
Well, he's only been on our radar in the last year. He's
So I'm
probably
0 for 2.
making
Okay,
music
got
for a while. But yeah, no, he's got this really interesting like doom folk sound, and this record or this video is definitely very pretty dark. It's pretty heavy, and definitely is like the lyrics are pretty haunting. He's dropping an EP this Friday, so the song will probably be on it.
So be on the lookout for that. Let's get heavy. This is Old Wolves. The song is called Your Ghost Now in the Branches, which is heavy on the Writers' Room. That was Old Wolves. The song's called Your Ghost Now in the Branches here on the Writer's Room. Uh, we normally end out the show with a little bit of wisdom, and I figured I would take this time just to kind of talk about something real quick and see, Ben, where you're standing on it and where I kind of am too. Um, Pitchfork recently put out an article about the Milwaukee hip hop scene. They featured several rappers that get they live mainly on YouTube. If you're familiar with Milwaukee rap, if you've ever gone down that rabbit hole, there's a million artists on YouTube racking up tons of plays, and it garnered a little bit of negativity from the Milwaukee music scene. I know Spades put out a diss and named us in it. I wanted to see your kind of uh, your thoughts on it because I kind of certainly have maybe a different thought than yours on it. But my theory is first off, I want to say we got named at the end of it, and like we're cool with the shout out, but we don't necessarily always, maybe there's a time and place for things, right? But we appreciate the shout out. But my thing is always been because I've been around long enough to see that these kind of articles happen every like year and a half, 2 years, where somebody writes a thing about is Milwaukee up next and things like that. Um, and it always kind of does well and it always garners some traffic, and then everybody that isn't on that list gets mad that they weren't on that list. I have always been kind of about the belief that, you know, even if it's not necessarily the most in-depth of articles, which let's say that this Pitchfork article really wasn't, um, in terms of who they spotlight and things like that. If that gets one person to go down the Milwaukee music rabbit hole, I think that that's a win in the city's book. I am also of the belief that if there is no, there's much more to life than words on the internet, which I think is something that a lot of people need to hear. But I don't think that there should be any sort of ill will towards Pitchfork for maybe not selecting somebody, but I can understand the artist's frustration at the same time with not getting selected on that thing. But at the same time, I feel like it's something that needs to just kind of roll off people's backs when maybe it wasn't their time to get selected for that sort of thing. So
Yeah, okay. Um, well, I see where you're coming from. I definitely do. And like you're right. Like yes, like any recognition of some dimension of Milwaukee hip hop, Milwaukee music in general is dope. Like I'm not I wouldn't discredit that at all because it is still cool that like yeah, one of the most popular music blogs in the country, in the world even, um, spotlighted something about Milwaukee, and that's cool. My biggest gripe, and this is kind of just more from an ethical standpoint as a music journalist, that it was my biggest caveat with the way they researched the article, like the scene, if you will, and where I'm very much in the belief that like unless you are going to really like tell an all-encompassing story about Milwaukee music, then I'm not so sure if I'm interested in like really getting excited about it. Like
mhm.
if it's only gonna like touch on what's most like what like the low hanging fruit, if you will, like what is most accessible from an outsider point of view. And I get that, like you said, YouTube, like they they touched on a lot of like street artists from Milwaukee that are very popular on YouTube,
Yeah.
and that is how a lot of buzz garners nationally um, from artists like that aren't necessarily like really consistent on all DSPs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like YouTube is, something that a lot of people find music on, and so I get it. Like they researched that. I mean, like they touched on some artists that like, um, T Glazit has worked with.
Yeah, things
You
that
know, they
that garner a lot of. I mean, let's call it what it is. They garner a lot of stats. They get a lot of numbers. The numbers are visible on
right.
YouTube. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's easy to go with and say, hey, let's pick 5 people that had really high view counts. You know,
Yeah.
legitimate or not, we don't know, but doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. They pick,
You
yeah, they pick people that got a lot of YouTube views. Let's say.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So they went with that, but in doing so, they overlooked like basically not. I mean, they not only overlooked like many other pockets of the Milwaukee hip hop scene that is like that are like really either major figures or major initiatives or major collectives that do um like make up our very diverse and representative hip hop scene.
Hmm.
Um Also just like it um how do I say this? It just felt kind of lazy. Just from it's just to put it kind of bluntly, like it just felt like they like you said, they looked at the stats from a select couple artists and they kind of gave a bit of a backhanded um some backhanded compliments in that article about like Milwaukee doesn't really emphasize quality or that like they
Right.
don't have access to quality or something like that,
Yeah.
which like is so far from the truth because there are plenty
Oh
of
yeah, there's quality
videographers and
every single day. I mean,
productions
we see,
studio, yeah,
yeah,
right, like we do have all of that and it's just they didn't it didn't feel like they looked for it. It felt like kind of like a very deliberate like a deliberate and almost superficial look at things that are going on in our city specifically pertaining to hip hop. Like
right.
I because we're not just represented by one pocket of artists. Like we are represented by you know so many different collectives of very talented people that are also very fucking consistent and
Yeah.
just very um and invest in themselves and uplift one another, whether we're talking about Saf's crew or Camp Shuttlesworth or Fat Nerds
Oh yeah,
or
yeah. There's
House of
talent on
Frenzy,
talent. Yeah.
like or experimental cats like Gorilla Ghost and Triple I Industries, or if we're talking about ADHD, we're talking about
Yeah.
um, the many independent artists that collaborate, like kind of floating between a lot of the different spheres, like as well as the elder statesmen, the guys that have been around since the backpack era.
Yeah.
Like there is just so much more than what they chose to feature, and it
Yeah.
just it just felt very undercooked, underwhelming.
Yeah.
And well, yes, it's cool that they decided to talk about Milwaukee for a change. Like, yeah, that's cool. But I just wish, but at this point, it's like I want them to talk about us correctly, which I'm sure everyone is. That's kind of like a universal gripe I think everyone had with the article. And it's not to
Yeah.
say that like Pitchfork's not going to redeem themselves. I'm confident that
Right.
we are going to get coverage in the future.
Yeah,
But
and I think that
yeah, that's
that is the best course of action to go forward is to not, necessarily be like fuck Pitchfork or you know what I mean, whatever people are saying. But I think the better course of action is to, focus on putting out a great product, a great, a great representation of the city overall, and then build from there because it's my same kind of thought that I have when artists ask me about how to promote their work, and they say, should I be on this? Should I be on that? Should I be doing whatever? Like, should I be making a million Instagram videos? Should I be doing TikTok? Like, whatever. You know what I mean? I always say that the best sales or the best marketing tool for your music is to just put out great music and put your focus on the product, your core product, and then kind of branch out from there. All the other stuff is peripheral to that. So in my instance, that would be, I think, the best course of action. I hope that the city, kind of does from here on out is to say, well, okay, we didn't make it this time. So now we're going to do something so loud and so noisy that people can't, deny what we're doing. So I hope that, and I don't think, and I think this also needs to be re-emphasized too. There is enough spotlight to go around that people don't need to, when they hear, X, Y, and Z made this blog or made this thing, that they're quick to, celebrate those wins too as a city, as opposed to saying, well, why the fuck didn't I get on this? So I think that's
It's
hopefully
not
the best
pie,
course of action.
as they say.
Yes, it's not pie.
Yeah, it's not
So
pie. Yeah, and so no, and you're right. You're right. And that is one thing I will say is that I feel the article, just from what I've observed on Twitter, certainly there was grievances initially, but ultimately I feel this disappointment from many of Milwaukee's artists is ultimately motivating and just really will fuel further ambition in future products or projects, and just inspire people to keep working hard and like to the point where they can't be ignored,
yeah,
or they can't be overlooked, not only by Pitchfork but by any major music publication. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's like people can take it. People just have to take it with a grain of salt
yeah,
and just keep pushing. It's like we always have been. Like it doesn't stop any of the work any of us are doing.
absolutely. And if you don't think that anybody is listening, Ben and I are always listening. We are always there.
We
So
sure are.
so obviously they didn't see breakingandentering.net, but I do hope that you will go to breakingandentering.net. And you can find new music every day there. Thank you so much for watching. It felt good to have there's actual music discussion and banter because we got things happening in the city.
Current issues.
Yeah, we got current issues discussed here. If you are just watching us for the first time, we do this every Tuesday at 5:00 on whatever platform you'd like to watch us: Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. We're all over the damn place. And you can find Breaking and Entering on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. We got a weekly e-newsletter that you can subscribe to at breakingandentering.net. We have a podcast as well that is coming back this week wherever you listen to podcasts. We got a show on Spotify every Thursday that you can check out. Ben has the Mr. Nice Guy podcast as well. Literally, we are all over the damn internet. So we thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next Tuesday at 5 right here on the Writers' Room. Peace.
Peace.